Today we're going to talk about adverbs of frequency. So first of all, what is an adverb of frequency? What are they? Does anyone know? So first, adverbs of frequency, we use them to talk about how often or with what frequency we do things, like activities or hobbies or anything. How often is a way in English, is a more common way of saying with what frequency. So this phrase, how often, is very important when we're asking a question using adverbs of frequency, such as, how often do you play football? Be the question, and the answer, I play 3 times a week, for example. Okay, so this is what are adverbs of frequency. Next, common adverbs of frequency. Okay, so here we have, how many are there? 9 adverbs of frequency been changed to see if you can discover what adverbs of frequency are contained here by changing the letters. For example, here, maybe, but we have never, like nunca. Okay, so I want you to press pause on the video for 5 minutes and work on this activity. 5 minutes and then press play. Okay, let's continue. Let's look at the solutions. So, we did one already. We had never. Here are the rest of them. So starting over here, we have often, never, seldom, always, sometimes, usually, occasionally, generally, and rarely. Okay, so these are our 9 adverbs of frequency. There are others. We saw the example on the first slide with 3 times a week for playing football. But in terms of adverbs of frequency, these 9 are very important. Okay, next activity. I want you to put in order the adverbs of frequency from the least frequent to the most frequent. Okay, so here's some help to help you. Obviously, we know that the least frequent would be never. For example, I never eat meat. Okay, and we know the most frequent would be always. Okay, so I always drink water. Okay, so same thing again. Here are the rest of the adverbs of frequency. I want you to order them in the order of frequency. Least frequent, never. Most frequent, always. And use the other 7 and order them along this arrow. Okay? Again, make a pause on the video. You have 5 minutes, and then we'll look at the answer. Okay. Okay, let's look at the solutions. So we know that least frequent is never. Down the scale to the most frequent, always. Okay, these are the order of the solutions. Rarely, so never, rarely, seldom. It's not as common, this one, seldom, but you'll see it as used. Occasionally, sometimes, often, generally, usually, and always. So, never, rarely, seldom, occasionally, sometimes, often, generally, usually, always. Here's another way of looking at adverbs of frequency. So you can see on this side we have percentages. Okay? So we know if we do something never, 0%. If we do something always, it's 100%. And in between, you can see the sort of percentage for each adverb of frequency. If we do something sometimes, it's probably 50%. We generally do something or usually do something, this is quite high, 80-90%. If we rarely or seldom do something, we're talking 5, 10, 15%. Okay, so let's have a look at my activities and my hobbies. So for this month, March, so you can see I go to the cinema often. We could also say maybe I generally go to the cinema, it's quite frequent, or I regularly go to the cinema. Can you think of anything else for me? So I go to the cinema often. Let's think. I generally play football every week. Maybe not always play football every week, because there's 1 week missing here. But football here, football here, football here, football here. I usually play football every week. I sometimes eat pizza. Not so frequent. I rarely eat ice cream, or I seldom eat ice cream, just once here. And I never play basketball. You can see no basketballs on here. Okay, so now I want you to talk about, or write or talk about your hobbies and your activities. Okay, so same thing again, like this one. I want you to think about your activities, your hobbies. Maybe they are different now with coronavirus. But I want you to think of 5 sentences about hobbies and activities using adverbs of frequency. Like my ones, I sometimes eat pizza, I rarely eat ice cream, I go to the cinema often, I often go to the cinema. Same for you, 5 sentences, and again, you have 5 minutes. And then at the end of the 5 minutes, that will be the end of the class. So thank you very much for listening.